So today is probably the biggest start of this project, the start of hiring the whole roof. But to do that, I cannot be here outside my dad and mom's garage. So I have to be here. So from now on, this is where we're gonna be. Like the whole roof is gonna be able to get off, and I don't have to worry about being outside when it's rainy and when the weather is shit and cover up during the night. So let's move in. So I want to show you guys what I want to do and how I want to like hire this roof. So if you see this line here that goes all the way along the van, this is where I'm gonna cut. So this one is gonna be sticking out, and then I'm gonna use the lower end here, weld the new steel plate on here, and then it's just gonna go up and inside here. So this is gonna be like kind of looking like this when I'm ready, and this part gonna be like that high, so around 4 decimeter altogether before you get to this. And I'm not really sure how I want to do in the front yet, but I've seen other van builds on the VARIO when they hired the roof, and it just looks like they added like a hat or a box on top of it, and I do not want that. So I want it to be kind of smooth like this instead of just straight up, just like a hat. So I want it to be looking as original as possible, and I don't really want to hire this up anymore. So I'm not sure yet, but somehow this is gonna kind of like flip up and meet the rest of the roof somehow. We get to that later, I guess. So first step is gonna be to drill all of these ones out. So it's 5 on each of the frames going down, and it's 12 frames. And when I'm done, it's gonna look something like that. So that one is completely loose from the structure. And then straighten this up so it goes in a straight line, so I get more of a straight wall inside the van, and then add a new frame between here and the new roof. So I bought the material for that, and I also bought the steel plates, 5 of them. Hopefully that's gonna be enough for all of that. This is a massive project. What have I put myself into? Well, it's just to focus on just doing one thing at a time, and hopefully in the end it's all gonna be good. So done, finally done with all the drilling. All of the holes in the frame is drilled. Now it's time to get that. I picked up some scaffolding, and this scaffolding is gonna go inside. I'm gonna build it up, and with these ones I'm gonna be able to adjust the height, and I'm gonna be able to lift the roof off when it's actually done. So let's go ahead and get the scaffolding inside. So this is the moment of truth. Like, from this point, I cannot return. And I've been thinking on and off if this is really the way I want to go forward. I'm 100% sure that this is the way, otherwise I wouldn't do it. So I'm masked all around. So I'm just gonna cut with the grinder all around the roof. Let's do this. So I had to be really steady on my hand when I was doing this just with a grinder, because this edge is gonna be the new line of the roof, so I can't mess this one up. So it took some time for sure, but it turned out pretty good. So the roof is all cut off now, but I wanna separate the hat here from the rest. So that's gonna be lifted in one part, and the hat is gonna be lifted in one separate part. So if you see here, this hat is made out of one piece. So I have to cut here, and I also have to drill all the holes out from the welding from the back part. So I'm gonna drill a few inspection holes, and then I'm gonna drill them out from above, because it's so heavy to drill the 12 mil from inside. But we're getting somewhere. So now the roof is officially, or should be, all cut loose. All the way over here, all the way down here. So now everything should be relying on the scaffolding. So now I can start lifting everything up to where I want it. I just tried to lift it, it wouldn't move at all, and I realized that behind here, these ones are actually attached down there as well, so I need to cut this off from the outside. Here you see how they still are attached to the frame down here. So I have to cut them off one by one, all over. But this piece is gonna go anyway, so I'm just gonna cut that off all the way. It's done. So all of that is gone all the way around, and if I lift this one now, the roof should move upwards. So let's go ahead and try that out. Woohoo! It's lifting! So now when the roof is lifted, I'm gonna start adjusting these ones and cutting off that part. So it's gonna look like this, from that to this. So I cut them off, I cut them open, bend this a little bit, and then this one I cut out a triangle so I can push it, so I get it straight instead of that. To get that, and those two in has been taking the whole day pretty much, because it's really hard to measure the height and to measure that everything is correct. But I knew that this moment was gonna be really hard to get this figured out. But I had a really good friend of mine. He's been here for hours with me and like helping me to sort this out. I appreciate that a lot, Christopher. Thank you so much for being here. So I can go ahead and start cutting these ones off and do exactly the same procedure I have done with that one. Let's just do this 12 times more. Once I was happy with grinding down the framework, I went on to grind the inside and the outside where the new steel plates are gonna be, and then put on this pre-welding paint that is a copper-based paint that will prevent things from rusting once the new plates are welded into place. So this is the moment of truth. Can I actually lower the scaffolding and the roof is gonna stay? I'm nervous. It looks good though. I just been welding small dots everywhere so far, but I wanna make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be when I lower the scaffolding first. So let's go ahead and do that. Now when I felt really comfortable that everything was in place, I double, triple checked every measurement. I could start to weld everything in place for good. So in order to strengthen the roof a little bit more, now when I'm gonna have a roof terrace and everything, I created these ones. So they're gonna go right there like that to support the frames, the original frames. And I'm gonna do one on each side, just like that, all the way. With this support now, I think this is strong enough to actually be having a roof terrace on top of this, I hope. There's a lot of hope in this build, but... Plate number uno. So this man just came from Norway to help me to do this. Thank you.
Joel Mercedes, we need help.
So none of us done this before ever, but this is kind of the result we're looking for, and this is the second try. We are already there, and that's just perfect. Because we want it to look like the original ones, and this is how the original ones is. And they are welded just like that in the back. So we're just gonna do the same. Since we put the first plate on, it's been like 2 hours now. And I think you can see why it's been like 2 hours. We could not get our heads around why the steel plates kept on bubbling up on us, until we realized that with these kind of thin steel plates, when you put welding on them, the heat from the welder starts to change the material and makes everything wobbly. So our solution became to create this edge all around the steel plate and then make the hole for the dot welding. This edge helped to make the steel plate stronger in the structure and also prevent the heat from going out into the main surface of the steel plate. We tried this idea, we put it in place, and it was so much better than the first plate. So we decided that this is what we're gonna go with. We have to do this procedure with the air because these thin steel plates, they bend super quickly by the heat from the welding machine. So I have to do this on every single weld I do. So once the steel plates on the side start to come in place, I was dying to see how it would look with the lifted roof in the front as well. My solution to lift the roof in the front was to cut the corners open to loosen the tension, and while the VARIO is so straight in the chassis, I could basically cut the corners open and go from inside, push the roof up and use the existing frame and you extend that to fit into the new roof.
Look at that. That's amazing. And it looks brutal from the front. That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
After I was happy with the alignment of the front roof and actual roof, I started to do these dummies to kind of figure out how big of a piece I needed and how I wanted it to sit on the top of the roof. Then when I was happy with that, I cut them out, put it in place, welded everything together, did one big part on the roof before I did the corner panel, which was a little bit more tricky to get into place.
This is actually really good sign that I got everything straight, because this one is from the other side and I can still use it here as well. That's good. Update on the corners, like I've done that side, so I'm gonna show that in a minute. The reason why I haven't filmed it is because I've been so stressed out of like getting this done, because I need to be out of this garage in 2 days and it needs to be painted by then. So it's a lot of different angles from previously that is coming together just in this corner. So I've been cutting up here, cutting up this way, cutting up all the way down here, and done pieces, re-changed the shape of that, and now I'm gonna do the small little piece right there. This one, put that to place, bend that, and then do the quarter panel. And I show you on the other side how it looks. So this side is already done, and the complicated thing is that I need to get it from inside of that drop list and then slowly take it all the way outside until the meet right down there in the corner. And that was really complicated to get together, but I think it looks awesome now. Look at that. It's amazing. I would say that it looks pretty factory in a way. That one is all right. Hopefully this one is gonna be amazing. So that's the difference from the first side and the second side. But that will work. Just put something here and we are all good.
Most of the plates are now in place and I have to attack the back. So what I'm gonna do is cut that off, lift it up so I can put in bigger glass doors in this opening. So that's gonna be next step.
Look at that. So that is gonna be my new back door, and that's gonna be the windows to walk in and out.
So I'm just gonna measure all that in and see where I can fit those beams so I can do a steady setup for the door.
That one is done and ready to get that one in, and it's painted with the welding primer. And that one's gonna be the next.
Once I was happy with the new door frame, I welded everything into the original attachment points for the chassis to make the structure as strong as possible. Once all that was welded in, I went on to finish the quarter panels and the back panel. This was a really tricky job, but because the plates were so thin, I managed to bend them by hand until I got them into a really good shape, looking just like this roof was originally built like this.
This is a big moment. The moment you see your vision become reality. Like, it's been in my head and it's been 2 weeks of struggling and fighting to get this all done, and I've never done this before. I've been having a lot of issues. The biggest issue I think so far is that I choose to go with the 0.7 millimeter steel plates instead of the 1.2, what the rest of the van actually are. But apart from that, I'm super satisfied. Just look at this.
So there it is. Now I need to do some ground painting on that and do the last welding. I have some steel structure that needs to get behind those beams, so I can't put the quarter panels there just yet, but as soon as this is painted and the steel construction is in to kind of support those plates because they are so wide, so when you move them you get that sound, and you don't want to have that while you are driving. So I'm gonna fix that and then do the last part of this, weld that together, do the ground painting inside with everything, and then also do all of the outside. And I made it for my deadline because I need to go to work in 2 days, and I've been here for like 2 weeks, and from the beginning when everything was just in so much problems, I didn't think that I was gonna finish this. So I've been so stressed out. I've been here till 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. But now it's all worth it because it just looks amazing. I've been visualizing the bed inside where I can sit or lay down in the bed and just have this window view with the balcony, and switch that out for a garage to an ocean or a mountain. Yes.
I wanted to have a clean and open area where the new glass doors is gonna sit. So to get rid of the old list area for the doors, I had to cut everything completely off and then create these new plates and weld them into place together with the frame and together with the chassis. Then I grinded down the weldings on the flat surface and tried to grind an original shape kind of edge so it looked like this was just built this way.
So that's the original connecting from the outside for this. And these are the ones that are gonna support my motorbike that is gonna hang on that balcony. So you can see how the plates are wobbly like that in some angles. And because I used a really thin plates, I get this. But I'm solving that with putting these ones in behind here and kind of stretching plates out all the way around.
Now when that is painted, I can slide in this L structured steel from behind where the quarter panel is gonna sit, weld them into place, and then bond them together with the chassis, and this just made a big difference.
This is really hard to see, but I think that looks so much better now when I got that on the inside, and the sound in it is completely different as well. Okay, so that's done. Now I set myself on a rolling scaffolding, and I'm gonna sand everything down and prepare everything for the primer.
So that's gonna be the end of this video, and wow, has it been a journey for me to sit down and actually do the editing of all the hard work I put into lifting this roof. And if you want to see more of this, and if you want to see how I painted all of this and put all of this together, make sure like, subscribe. If you have any comments, please write them down and I try to get back at you as soon as possible. Until the next one, peace.